Hi guys, this is WSOB, and today I will be talking about my Arch-Tempered Xeno'jiiva quality of life armor set. So obviously you can tackle Arch-Tempered Xeno'jiiva many ways. Now ideally, if you are a super skilled hunter, then you usually want to load up on the attack boosting skills. That way you could take down Arch-Tempered Xeno'jiiva much faster, especially given the extra health points, as well as the limited time you have to take the monster down. Unfortunately, not everybody is a super skilled hunter, so that's where things like a quality of life build comes in. So quality of life basically makes your time against the monster a little bit easier by coming with skills that sort of increase survivability or just make it easier for you to walk around the monster and deal with some of its effects. Now, using a quality of life build doesn't mean you can be more passive. If anything, you have to be a bit more aggressive, because since you don't have all those attack boosting skills, that means you don't do as much damage. So you want to make sure that you are doing damage whenever you have an opening. Now, in the case of Xeno'jiiva, or Arch-Tempered Xeno'jiiva, there are three things that make your life harder as you're fighting him. Number one is the lava that Xeno'jiiva likes to spread around during the fight, which can burn you and just make your life miserable, and it makes it hard to attack because then you might be running around healing instead of just attacking. So that's one. The second are tremors. So Arch-Tempered Xeno'jiiva likes to use even more ground pounding attacks, so in addition to preventing you from attacking, what it does is by holding you in place, it makes you the perfect target for one of the monster's wombo combos. That can pretty much take your entire health bar away. And number three, of course, are the monster roars, which pretty much every monster has. And if you've been playing Monster Hunter for a long time, then you kind of know what the roars do. Yeah, so this quality of life build tries to address all three of those in combination. A lot of people usually either pick one of those three or maybe two of them to make their life easier and then use more attack skills. This one tries to fit all three, making it like an ultimate quality of life build, so to speak. So in order to fit all three in, I basically picked these 5 pieces. So for easy earplugs, you want to go with a basal helm beta, and then a basal coil beta. And then after that, you can pretty much mix whatever you want, because all the other skills can be easier to get. And so in my case, I just picked 3 Kaiser pieces. That way I could get Master's Touch, so I don't have to sharpen as much if I'm hitting weak spots like I should. Because sharpening can be a bit tough during an Arch-Tempered Xeno'jiiva fight. Plus, anytime you sharpen, it kind of takes you out for a bit from attacking. Now usually I like using the Behemoth set when it comes to Master's Touch and also getting the critical sort of skills in place as well. However, the Behemoth set uses 4 pieces in order to get the set bonus, and so that'll take out one of the basal pieces. So what I did was I just ended up using the Kaiser Mail, the Kaiser Vambraces, and the Kaiser Greaves. And the reason I picked those particular set of skills, like Liam Neeson, particular set of skills, but the reason I picked those is because when you try to squeeze in this many quality of life skills, that leaves you less space to put in extra stuff like attack up or weakness exploit, which is my favorite skill. Like, usually every armor I have has a weakness exploit, but in this case it's hard for me to fit it in, especially because as far as the charm is concerned, I end up using a Clear Mind charm instead, and so that takes up some valuable slots for skills. And so having the extra critical helps, because getting more critical hits is one of the ways you can increase your damage when you're using a quality of life set like this and can't use any other skills or insert them in because the quality of life skills are taking several slots or ability pieces. Yeah, so at its basic, you get the Basal Helm, the Kaiser Mail, the Kaiser Vambraces, the Basal Coil, and then the Kaiser Greaves. And then for charm, you have the Clear Mind charm. And you also have some leeway as far as changing parts of the stuff. Like, for example, for the Mail, you can either use the Kaiser Mail Beta, which comes with special ammo boost if you're going to be using Sabo guns. And then for melee, you can use the Kaiser Mail Gamma, which comes with latent power, as well as weakness exploit, which helps boost the critical skills even more. Now, if you want a more gunner-centric version that has all these quality of life skills, you'll need to swap some stuff around. In this case, here's one with the Basal Helm, the Kaiser Mail, Zora Claws Gamma, the Wrath Soul Coil, and the Zora Spurs. So this one is for people who want to have a pierce setup. And as you can see, it comes with earplugs, Tremor Resist, health boost. It even comes with special ammo boost, which is good if you like to use the special ammo. And of course, heat guard, piercing shots, a bit of critical eye, and some fortify in there as well. So depending on your comfort, once again, you can take stuff out, maybe put weakness exploit, take tremor resist out, and that will increase your critical or your affinity, because this one does need some extra damage if you want to do more. But yeah, so this is a quality of life option for Pierce Gunners. And then for spread, you'll need to swap some stuff around again. So this one has the Basil Helm Beta, Kaiser Mail Beta, Zora Claws Gamma, Zora Spine Gamma, and then the Lavasyoth Greaves Beta, and I put that in there in order to get the spread power shot skill. If you have a gem, congratulations, use that and then put a better armor piece in there. But if you don't, this is one way to get the spread power shots into your skill set. As you can see, this comes with all the quality of life stuff again. You got earplugs, tremor resistance, max health boost, heat guard. It even comes with special ammo boost once again, if you like to use your special ammo. Yeah, so this is another example of a quality of life build, and this one specifically for spread gunners. In my case, since I have the Tareth Assault Horn, the affinity is pretty bad, so if you do get comfortable at some point, yes, feel free to take out the Tremor Resistance gems and then just put in Weakness Exploit gems or Tenderizer gems in there. As always, everything depends on what armor sets you have access to and what you can make. The more you have, the better. Like if you have the Empress Greaves Gamma, for example, you get another earplugs option that you might be able to mix and match better. Yeah, so feel free to swap stuff around and experiment, depending on what suits your style. And as far as quality of life is concerned, the Clear Mind Charm is probably the most important when fighting Arch-Tempered Xeno'jiiva, because that's what allows you to walk around the lava and just kind of laugh it off. Like it tickles, you know, what's this? It's orange, it's nice. Doesn't hurt you anymore, doesn't burn you. And this allows you to attack around, you know, the arms, especially for melee weapons. This is really important to have, because if you don't have it, then you're going to start burning, and unless you're like really super good and can take creeping damage, then that's fine. But Arch-Tempered Xeno'jiiva does so much damage that if you're not in full health or close to it, it's easy to get one shot sometimes, depending on what attack he throws out. Or even if it doesn't kill you, then he'll combo you into an attack that eventually kills you or makes you faint, at least. So if you're going to pick one of these 3 skills and you can only have one, you definitely want to have at least Heat Guard on. And so one of the easiest ways to get that is the Clear Mind Charm. Next is earplugs, of course, which you can get by the Basil Helm and the Basil Coil, and then all you need after that is just one earplug gem. It's a 3 slot, or I mean it's a level 3 gem. And that's all you need, and you're pretty much ready to go as far as earplugs are concerned. And then the third skill that rounds everything out is, of course, Tremor Resistance. And you want to max that out. And so for that, I just use the jewels for it. Again, so that would be the Footing Jewel 2. So it requires a 2 slot. And, you know, what that does is it prevents you from being interrupted by Arch-Tempered Xeno'jiiva's tremors. And so when you have all 3 skills, there's really not that much that Xeno'jiiva can do to pretty much freeze you. You basically end up having the freedom to just walk around him and run around and do whatever you please without having to worry about being flinched or having your stuff cancelled. And that freedom of movement is great because it lets you attack more often every time you see an opening, but at the same time it also makes it easier for you to withdraw and evade when the time comes and he uses one of those moves that can just damage you right close to him or right around him. This is especially true for that exploding ground pound that he does, which gets even worse when he's mad because he'll do it consecutive times, and then it actually has pretty good range. It affects not just the area right around him, but it expands beyond that too. Yeah, so that freedom of movement is really good. It's great for attacking, great for pulling out, and pretty much makes your life easier all around. As far as other skills, I definitely like to add health boost, because it can save your life, like literally. I've had Arch-Tempered Xeno'jiiva hunts where I'm down to a sliver of health, and if I didn't have any health boost or a max health boost, I would have fainted or carded right there. And sometimes with this particular armor set, depending on the weapon you're using, you're going to get like 1 extra slot, usually a level 1 slot. In that case, you can either put attack if you want to just get that extra attack bonus, or in my case, I usually put fortitude, and I do that because of a couple of reasons. One, is that if you do cart or feint, which can happen when you least expect it with Arch-Tempered Xeno'jiiva, it's not as demoralizing because you're coming back with even more attack boost. If you cart twice, then you're coming back with a really good bonus as far as attack up is concerned. So usually, when you cart twice, you're like, oh dang, I'm terrible. I almost said I suck. Well, yeah. But when you have fortitude, you're almost giddy when you cart twice because you come back with even more power. And then depending on what weapon you're using, you can slot some extra skills in. Like for Insect Glaive, maybe you can put in Airborne if you're lucky and have some nice jewels. You can put, say, a Pierce jewel if you're using a Pierce bowgun set. Also, as far as this set is concerned, I also call it an all-rounder set, and that's because it works with a wide range of weapons. It can work with melee weapons, but it can also work with bowguns, whether it be a light bowgun or a heavy bowgun. So, like for example, for light bowgun, the freedom of movement is especially good because light bowgun requires a lot of mobility. For heavy bowgun, some of these skills might not be as important, especially if you have a shield, but it can still be pretty useful. And the set can still work with that. It's not going to be as useful for certain weapons. Like for Hunting Horn, for example, you really don't need to gem in earplugs into your set. You could just take that out and put some attack boosting skills instead. Because if you use, say, a Nergigante Hunting Horn, that comes with Earplugs L. And so you can just play the song and you don't have to worry about putting that in your armor. It can still work, especially if you're using a horn that doesn't have earplugs. Like, for Insect Glaive, I like using it with the Draken Insect Glaive, paired with a poison bug, because Xeno'jiiva is susceptible to poison. Yeah, one of the things I like about this set too is since it works with a lot of weapons, it's a great way to experiment. If you're trying to see what weapons are good, or if you want to just practice with different weapons, it's an easy way to do that without having to create all these different armor pieces. And so, like I said, one of the issues with this set is that you don't get the killer damage that you would from a damage-focused set. But at the same time, it makes your life easier, it makes it easier to survive. And if you're one of those people who doesn't have Arch-Tempered Xeno'jiiva's patterns quite down yet, that extra movement can really help you survive and also get in more attacks. It's actually also good for learning the fight. So you could start out by using this armor at first and then see what the moves are if you haven't fought Arch-Tempered Xeno'jiiva as much, or you want to get used to the timing of the monster's moves. It's actually really good for learning. But you can still use it to take him down as long as you're taking advantage of every opening and making sure you're not just running around. And then as you get used to the fight, you can start taking some of the quality of life stuff and replacing those with attack boosting skills to help improve your times. Like for example, if you use this with an Insect Glaive, then maybe you can take out the Tremor Resistance skills, especially if you plan on spending most of the fight airborne, although you do have to be careful because there are certain moves that can still hit you in the air and potentially feint you. So then for weapons like Greatsword, this is actually really good because Greatsword you have to be in their face, and in addition to that, your moves are kind of slow, so it's one of the harder weapons to use against Arch-Tempered Xeno'jiiva because the monster moves around a lot, so it can be hard to hit, like, the front paws, for example, with a true charge, because by the time your true charge comes out, the foot might be in a different spot. But the fact that you need to be close means that you need all the mobility you can get, as well as all the defense you can get against roars, tremors, and fire, or the lava floor. So this actually works really good with a Greatsword as far as quality of life is concerned. And then eventually, like I said, you can take out the earplugs, maybe you can take out the tremor proof depending on what weapon you're using. Yeah, so it's pretty flexible. You can mix and match and just put whatever you need in there depending on the situation. Like I said, it's not going to be as good as a pure damage focused build, but if you're looking at a quality of life set against Arch-Tempered Xeno'jiiva, then chances are you're not one of those super aggressive expert hunters who do not need any quality of life skills to help you out. Anyway, so this is my quality of life set for fighting Arch-Tempered Xeno'jiiva. Like I said, it's not going to be for everybody, but if you feel like you need some extra help as far as dealing with some of the things that Arch-Tempered Xeno'jiiva throws at you, this is one way to do that. It's not the only way, but Yeah, it's one way. That's the good thing about Monster Hunter. You can attack a problem multiple ways. Like even this, if you just take certain things out or replace certain pieces of armor, you could go a totally different route. And that's one of the things I love about the game. Anyway, as always, if you have any thoughts or questions, please feel free to leave them at the comments section. Once again, this is Tabi Asobi, and thank you for watching.